Alright gang, I'm back here in my home state of Florida. I just got back from probably my most memorable trip to Africa. I got to hunt over there for about 3 weeks. I was over there, and I finally got to hunt the Cape buffalo with my bow, and we had a really good hunt with that. Killed a nice kudu, a black impala, and then after I did that hunt, my boys came over. I have two sons that are in their 30s, and we don't get to hunt that much anymore, and so they came over and we got to do a hunt over there as well, and that'll be a different video than this one. But I'm back here in my shop here in Florida. I was going to show you guys, actually we're riding out a hurricane at the moment, and stick this computer out the door here and show you. That's got a storm coming in, but actually where we are is not really in the path of the storm, so we're just kind of taking it easy today. All right, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my arrow setup for the Cape buffalo. I bought me a new bow. I bought the Mathews Lift. I got the 29.5 inch model. They have a 33, I think it is, and a 29.5. And I worked my way up, and I was shooting over 70 pounds. My one scale said 76 pounds. So I was trying to get a heavy enough arrow for the penetration on the Cape buffalo. So what I ended up doing was I have these are my normal arrows that I use for plains game. See if I can get that in there. I think I got it upside down. That's just a 350 spline arrow, the Destroyer, made by Carbon Express. And these are my normal arrows that I use with my Rage 100 grain broadheads. But I also wanted to tell you that I was trying to get more weight on my arrow. I was trying to get anywhere between 800 and 1,000 grains. And so to do that, I was having trouble finding the shaft I liked that would get that much weight. I'm shooting a 250 grain Bear fixed 2-blade broadhead, and I also have these arrows that I've hunted with in the past, and these are the Elite. These are made by Victory, and these are a 250 spline arrow. And so what I ended up doing was I took my first arrow, and you can see the flex on this spline at 350. Let's see if I can make it. It flexes. It's got a fair amount of flex to it, which is a good thing when you're shooting a fixed broadhead. And then this other shaft, it was a 250. It's much stiffer, but you can tell it's still got some flex. So what I decided to do was combine the two and see if I couldn't get an arrow that could weigh what I wanted it to weigh. And so what I did was I took my first arrow that I normally hunt with and my second arrow, and as you can see, I actually put the two together and slid it, and they fit so tightly that they slide back and forth, but they're so tight that when this arrow gets to the sticker on this arrow, it binds. That's how snug they fit. And so what I did was I took the smaller diameter arrow and I sanded it down. I sanded all the labels off, and then I inserted it into my, do this end, that end's a little messed up, into my shaft of my other arrow. So now I'm shooting 965 grains. But what I want to tell you is the spline now is almost double. I can barely bend this thing. So it was really stiff. And what I wanted to say was that this arrow, although it worked, it was not the best flying arrow. I could never get it to fly straight. I think the main reason is because the arrow was so stiff with the two arrows inserted together. Then when you put that fixed 2-blade wing on the front, the 2-blade broadhead is like a wing, it was very unforgiving, and the slightest little bit of error in the shooting made the arrow fly funny. And I thought with a heavier broadhead on the end, I'm shooting a 250 grain broadhead, that I could make it fly like I wanted. And I had it shooting pretty good when I went over there, but in all honesty, it didn't fly very good at all. I mean, it was when it hit an animal with all that weight and all that kinetic energy, it really did a number on them. It penetrated well, and and you'll see on the video when I shoot the Cape Buffalo that I shoot it at 24 yards and I hit it too far forward, but it still penetrated a good bit, and it did a lot of damage after we cut it up after the fact. So I just wanted to mention that because I really wouldn't recommend this. I know most of you are probably thinking, if you can afford to go to Africa, why don't you just buy the right arrows? And that's what I should have done. I had a bunch of both of these arrows already. I mean, like a bunch of them. And so I thought, man, this ought to work great. And by the time I put them together, I just couldn't get the aeroflight I needed out of them, although it did work. So let's head to South Africa and see what happened. I was fortunate enough to get to stay with some friends of mine over there, and they live in a great spot right next to the Balule National Wildlife Preserve, which is actually opened all the way up to Kruger. And so in their backyard, or actually their front yard, they had a lot of animals come through there. So we had a great time sitting on the porch watching the animals. Say hey, Donnie.
Lemon twist.
Oh.
Mountain Dew.
Oh my goodness. Donnie was unloading the truck as I was playing with Jesse the dog, and Donnie and his wife Tashai own a really nice wedding venue over in Nelspruit called Shiloh Wedding Chapel. If you guys are interested in doing a destination wedding, they got a great spot over there. They also have a church that meets there on Sundays. It's a really unique spot. It was fun getting to shoot our bows out here with all the animals. They just come right up as we were shooting. We saw impala and elephant and kudu and all kinds of different things. All right, here we are at the Limpopo province in South Africa again. Glad to be back in Africa. Today we're going to try to get the Cape Buffalo. So we've been here several times and not gone after one, and now we're trying to finally get the buffalo. So we'll keep you posted and let you know how we do. On this particular hunting concession, they had one area where they were supplementing the feed for the wildlife there in the bush. And so they decided to set a pop-up blind because those Cape buffalo had been coming into this area some. So me and my guide climbed in this pop-up blind hoping that the Cape buffalo would show up. And it didn't take long before they did. This hunting concession also had some really nice warthogs on it, as you can see here. But we were after the buffalo, and so we did not take a shot at these.
See that white dot on the leg? The white dot on the leg. Yeah, that's a good place. Just above it, just above the white dot. Do you want to do it now or wait? No, wait for him to go forward with that leg. Okay, now we have to wait.
Okay, we felt like this center buffalo, the one in the middle, was the best one, but after he chased that warthog off, he turned and faced us, and we didn't have a broadside shot anymore. We had a shot before, but his front leg was kind of back, hiding his vitals, and so we were just waiting for him to take one more step. And then he chased that warthog off and turned, and never did turn back. But we were patient. We had plenty of time. They weren't, didn't seem to be nervous at all. And so as we waited, the buffalo on the right, this one here, he became a little bit more nervous. You can see this one throw his nose up in the air. He catches a whiff of something he doesn't like. He gets real spooky. And then in a minute, he takes off running, and the other two follow him. You can kind of see his shadow running off in the top left corner up there. The PH felt like he knew where these bulls were headed, so we called the truck back in. We got back in the truck and we circled around to try to cut them off. Eventually we did cut them off. We got out of the truck, we made a stalk, and we got within about 24 yards of this nice bull. So we got down out of the truck, we maneuvered into position. Unfortunately, when I took the shot, I hit it too far to the left. Because we were shooting such heavy arrows, we actually got decent penetration on this arrow, considering how bad of a shot that it was. Because the arrow did a little more damage than we thought, it caused this bull to start licking his nose and his lips right away. I think it was making it hard for him to breathe a little bit. Although it didn't get much of the vitals, it did do some damage. I got to thinking after bouncing around in that truck for so much, trying to catch up to these bulls, that I might have knocked my bow off. So I put a little piece of paper on a termite mound, took a couple quick shots just to make sure everything was still good. The bow was shooting just a tad low at 20 yards, but otherwise seemed to still be doing fine. Same spot.
A little bit low again.
Okay, so back in the truck we go, trying to track down these buffalo again. We were able to catch up to them again. Luckily, we were on this flat plains. This piece of property also had some mountains attached to it, and had those buffalo got up in the mountains, we would have had a much harder time. After a couple of hours of trying to get close to these buffalo again, now they knew we were after them, but we finally managed to get within about 31 yards, and this time we took another shot.
The one in the middle, right? Yes. Too low.
This second shot was good right and left, but it was a little bit low. It actually hit right in the bottom of the chest cavity. But I wanted to slow this footage down for you so you can see the arrow flight in midair, and you can see what that heavy spline does to those arrows. Before I went to Africa, I had this bow paper tuned twice, and both times it was shooting a bullet hole right through the paper. So I felt like my rest was set right and my knocking point was right, but the arrows, I just didn't get the arrow flight that I was looking for. Okay, so now we have 2 arrows in this bull, and he is starting to slow down. He is laying down every chance he gets, but we keep pushing him, trying to get him up, trying to get another arrow in him. It was this point that we decided that it's going to be probably safer if we can get in the back of the truck and maneuver that truck to get close enough for a shot, because he was definitely getting irritated. You can see he's bleeding pretty severely, and the second shot actually broke his front left leg. You can see it dangling there in that video, but you can see in this footage he still was mad enough to threaten to come at us. Yeah, too many branches.
Hold it, hold it. Come back, come back. Come back.
Hold it, hold it.
You get a shot taken.
Yes, perfect shot.
That is it.
Perfect shot.
Finally.
That air still went.
Oh my word.
That was
Perfect.
that you could hear.
Holy mackerel.
Third time's a charm. That was a perfect shot.
And
yes.
between the hell of a
This-
lot of brush.
The arrow sounded like
Yeah,
but
it sounded
a
like
knife
it.
going into butter.
Spot.
Thank you guys.
You see, this one number 2 is the one that got to do a good job, just because this leg is already broken. You
Yeah.
see?
Okay, here it is. We started at 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 arrows later, we got it done. We had a great hunt, great buffalo. Here's the new Matthews lift we used. It's set at 76 pounds, and we finally got a good solid kill shot in there. So we had a great hunt, a lot of excitement. Okay, I just want to say a quick word about the guys in this picture right here. The guy to my left that's holding the rifle, his name is Nick Van Zyl. Nick used to take care of nuisance animals for the government. So for years and years, he hunted animals for the government that were causing problems, including elephants and lions and leopards and crocodiles and anything you can imagine. So Nick has years and years of experience, and one of the most knowledgeable people I know about hunting Africa. Nick was also instrumental in putting this hunt together for me, so I really appreciate that. Next to Nick is my buddy Donnie, and Donnie on this trip had one of the backup rifles for us. He also had a backup camera for us, and he has a lot of experience in the bush. And then next to Donnie is Shannon, who is Nick's son. And Shannon, of course, grew up in a family of hunting and has more experience than most people that are 20 years older than him. He has literally been doing it all his life. And Shannon's also an excellent bow hunter and very knowledgeable with bows. And so I would be hard-pressed to find 3 guys that have more experience and are more fun to hunt with than these guys. I just want to say a special thank you to them, and thank you for putting that together. When we got back to Nick's place that night, Pride of Lions had moved in. So we hopped in one of the trucks and slipped down there. We got some pretty good footage of this Pride of Lions. From what we could tell, this was all females and young lions. We didn't see any big males with this group. But when we woke up the next morning, the lions were still around. So we got some good footage of them that morning as well. So while we were chasing the Cape Buffalo around the day before, we kept jumping this nice black impala ram. I'd never killed a black impala before, and so we headed back to the bush to try to get a shot at this black impala ram. Need to shoot him?
Yeah, he's not dead. There we go. Good job, sir.
Thank you, man. Thanks for hanging with me. All right, we finally got our black impala. We chased him all day. We probably had 5 or 6 failed stalks trying to get up on this thing, but he was very wary and wouldn't let us get very close. But we finally got about 30 yards and made a shot through the brush. It hit him just a little high and spined him, and so he dropped right away. Took another shot to finish him off, but really cool black impala. If you've ever hunted Africa, then you know everything over there has thorns on it. And flat tires are just part of the deal. Another animal I was interested in getting on this trip was a kudu. I had killed a pretty nice kudu a couple of years ago. But when I sent the hide home, it got messed up in transit. I had it dip and packed, and it didn't preserve very well. So I was interested in getting another one. We actually found a nice kudu bull. He was laying down at the base of a cactus. I don't usually like to shoot animals while they're laying down, but this particular one, we were up above him and we could see his vitals very well. So me and my PH Shannon decided we could go ahead and take the shot. I ranged him at 55 to 56 yards. As you can see here on this picture, that's where my dial is set on my bow. Shannon ranged him at 58 yards, and he obviously had a better angle than I did because my shot was a little low. One of the things that's never happened to me before, but when I shot this kudu, I hit him low, and the arrow actually severed his Achilles tendon on his back left leg. And when it did that, it also hit the one on the right and cut it a little bit. And when the bull jumped up to run off, we realized he couldn't run. And when we realized that, then the chase was on to get another arrow in him.
Reload. go, go. Not this way, because the... Oh.
How far is he now? I just need an idea.
Hold on. 60.
60.
We can go close. Go. Are you ready? Wait. Let's go. Come. Come. He's gonna not go further. Come. 51. 55.
Come. 60.
Come on, let's go this way. Come. Just here, are you ready?
Yeah.
Hold on. 60. Okay. Now just shot. Good. He's facing towards us. He's facing, wait for him to turn. Okay. It hit, but I don't know where. Let's see. Come, come. Come, come.
I think I can get one right through there.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see the distance.
That's 20 yards or less.
13. Nice, yeah. Just behind his shoulder there. Okay.
Yeah. Still went to the right, didn't it?
He's alright, he's not going anywhere. Jeez. 3 shots. 3 shot magic. Gee. Oh, that went a little bit to the right. Let's see.
My guide noticed this clay pot one day while we were driving around, and the guy that worked there at the ranch told us that they used to have nomads that traveled through there and grazed their cattle, and they would graze for about 6 months and then move on. And while they were there, they would build temporary shelters, and they would make clay pots to use while they were there. But it was easier for them to leave the clay pots behind than it was to take them with them, because they could just make new ones when they got where they were going. So a lot of times you can find these old clay pots and old pottery on these old termite mounds that had overtaken the huts that they made. My buddy Nick, shown here in his trophy room, gave me permission to do a quick video of his trophies he's accumulated over the years. As you might imagine, he's got quite a collection of a lifetime spent in the outdoors. You know, guys, Africa is a very unique place. If you ever get a chance to go, I highly recommend it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. Thank you.